Hey, is my mic?
And we are continuing to follow the breaking news you have been following this evening tonight. ABC News reporting legendary journalist Barbara Walters has died. In a career that lasted 5 decades, Walters became the first female anchor of an evening news program. She would later rise to fame as the co-host of 2020 in 1979. In 1997, she launched The View, which she would be host of until 2017. Walters was 93 years old.
The only thing that we can do in law enforcement to honor their memories that we know of is to bring this to a successful conclusion.
A community's concerns finally eased a bit tonight after police announced an arrest in the murders of 4 University of Idaho students. Police arrested this man, 28-year-old Brian Kohberger, in connection to those murders. Those 4 students were found stabbed to death in early November. Police say due to Idaho law, what they can share is limited. However, now that Kohberger's name has been released, they are asking the public to come forward with anything that they know about him.
Please get that information out there. Please ask the public, anyone who knows about this individual, to come forward. Call the tip line. Report anything you know about him to help the investigators and eventually our office and the court system understand fully everything there is to know about not only the individual, but what happened and why.
Now, Kohberger was arrested in Pennsylvania. Authorities were able to narrow their focus to him after tracking his ownership of a white Hyundai Elantra that police say was in the area of the killings. They add that his DNA has also been matched to material found at the scene of the crime. Police say they can't yet give a motive in the attack because the investigation is still ongoing.
I recognize the frustration with the lack of information that's been released. However, providing any details in this criminal investigation might have tainted the upcoming criminal prosecution or alerted the suspect of our progress.
Now, Fry says investigators are still actively searching for pieces of evidence in the case, including the murder weapon. He notes he cannot yet give a motive in the attack because it's part of that ongoing investigation. Now, here's everything we know so far. Police began their search after Kaylee Conclave, Madison Mogan, Zana Kernoodle, and Ethan Chaplin were found stabbed multiple times. That search led them to Kohberger, a PhD student at Washington State University. The graduate residence where Kohberger was staying is only a 15-minute drive from Moscow, Idaho, where the killings took place. He's expected to be in court again for extradition on Tuesday. Now, outside of the King Road home where those murders took place, there almost is a collective sigh of relief as the news of an arrest began to spread. Chris Mitchell spoke with the Moscow community members and has their reaction.
I do believe our community is safe, but we still need to be vigilant.
Some relief now that quadruple murder suspect Brian Kohberger is in custody. Moscow resident TJ Clevenger is also a Main Street business owner who's glad to hear that an arrest has been made.
Yes, I'm excited.
But with this one answer, there are now more questions.
I want to know what the motivation was, and I look forward to more communication from our law enforcement as it becomes available.
He says he's also relieved and now understands why Moscow police did not disclose a lot of information.
Yeah, I think that's great. I know that they have to keep tight lips to make sure that things happen correctly. I have a suspicion that is probably what's helping them catch this guy.
Well, that's good news. I just hope they find him and lock him up.
Many others I spoke with didn't want to talk on camera, but did express gratitude in the work that police have been doing. The restaurant where Zana Kernoodle and Madison Mogan worked, Mad Greek, still has the memorial up for the victims, but the makeshift memorial at the University of Idaho sign is now gone.
Now, the University of Idaho's president responding to the news of an arrest this evening in a memo to the university, he praises the resilience of his students while going on to write, quote, "While we cannot bring Maddie, Kaylee, Zana, and Ethan back, we can thoughtfully and purposefully carry their legacy forward in the work that we do." The next few months will be tough on their friends and families as the legal system begins that process of publicly prosecuting these crimes to bring justice. Let's keep them in our thoughts and prayers and continue to stand Vandals strong. Now, you can read our complete coverage of the arrest as well as the murder case itself on our website, Dayton247now.com. You can find that story and others like it near the top of the homepage. Live pictures over downtown Dayton tonight on our Kettering Health Skycam as the year comes to a close. Law enforcement officials want you to know they're doing everything in their power to keep illegal drugs off our streets in the new year. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office continuing to tackle the opioid crisis. This year alone, they took almost $11 million worth of drugs off our streets. Claire Faith live now outside the Sheriff's Office in Dayton. And Claire, you spoke with officials. What did they say is the key to their success this year?
This year, the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office says the community and local nonprofits were a big help to deputies by giving law enforcement support and helping recovering addicts once they're released from jail. And the numbers show Range and Bulk Task Force recovered nearly 27 grams of heroin and fentanyl and over 64 grams of meth. The Sheriff's Office says this is a community effort.
We do have local law enforcement agencies that are putting that educational awareness out there. So I think the community feels a lot more comfortable coming forward and telling law enforcement what they're seeing and what they're hearing in their neighborhoods, and we need that.
All right, so Claire, what will the task force units be focusing on in the new year now?
Agencies tell me that they'd be focusing on a new training drug, which is called rainbow fentanyl, that looks like pieces of candy, and also edible marijuana that are laced with other dangerous drugs. Now back to you, Adam.
Claire, thank you. We are learning new information about a Dayton murder investigation. The coroner confirming that 48-year-old Charles Nolan was found dead inside of a Riverside Drive apartment on Wednesday. Now, police were called out there after reports of a shooting. We'll continue to follow that story and update you as soon as we learn anything new on air and online. Now take a look at this picture of your screen of this man. The Ohio State Highway Patrol is alerting the state of an inmate that escaped from the Columbus area last night. Troopers say that Jacob Davidson was being held in connection to an officer-involved shooting. Now, he was last seen wearing a red flannel shirt with blue sweatpants and black tennis shoes. If you see where he is or know where he could be, you're urged to contact police immediately. As we approach the start of the holiday weekend, lots of people want to ring in the new year in different ways, but many are encouraging community members to, of course, celebrate safely. Montgomery County Prosecutor Matt Heck, for one, is offering a ride safe over the New Year's holiday weekend. You simply scan a QR code that you see there, and it'll take you to Uber, where you can access that free ride.
Maybe I'm a little impaired. Maybe I'm not even DUI, but maybe I'm impaired to the point that I shouldn't drive, just for my own safety as well as everyone else on the road. All they have to do is scan in Arrive Safe, get the free ride home. It costs nothing.
Now, Prosecutor Heck started that program 15 years ago, and since then, it's given out 8,000 free rides in Montgomery County. Over Christmas and Thanksgiving this year, nearly 500 free rides were taken, and no drunk driving deaths were reported during those holiday weekends. As we mentioned, everyone celebrates the New Year's in different ways, but Dayton police warning against one way some still celebrate the New Year, and that is with gunfire. The department says you could face charges if you engage in that.
What's shot in the sky obviously has to come down. Although that person may be firing into the air, for celebratory manner, how easily that can not go well for anyone involved.
The department says they've had reports of property damage and injured people because of this. The night 2021 turned into 2022, there were 30 shooting calls. That's up from 13 the year before. Now, charges could include criminal damaging, vandalism, inducing panic, and more, ranging from a misdemeanor to a felony. All right, so the weekend is here. It's New Year's weekend. A lot of celebrations going on, of course. Tim is in for Natalie tonight, and the weather going to be pretty pleasant for the most part. Maybe some rain, though.
We're going to have some rain tonight into the morning,
Okay.
but dry for the festivities, so that's the important
Excellent.
part. But right now, the main chunk of the rain moving into the region, as you can see, pulling out here, you see the moisture really just pushing up from Tennessee to Kentucky into our area. All of this is going to douse us tonight and into the morning tomorrow. You see right around 3 to 4 a.m. is when the heaviest portions of it are going to move through the region. 10 a.m. we start to clear out a little bit, but you could see a few isolated pockets of showers still. And then as we move towards 5 p.m., we might see a little bit of sunshine poke through the rest of the evening before the sun sets. And then taking a look at the ball drop time at midnight, mostly cloudy to partly cloudy depending on where you are in the viewing area. Generally going to be a dry night as those clouds move back in overnight. So if you're heading out, you want to grab a light jacket, but you will not need an umbrella.
All right, Tim, thanks. Dayton Public Schools is alerting families of students that it's time to mask back up. The district taking to Twitter to announce that masks will be highly recommended for all students and staff for the next 2 weeks. Highly recommended. The district says this is due to an increase in illnesses in the county, as well as the possibility of exposure to illnesses during the holidays. Across the country, the flu did hit harder and faster this season than normal, but it now appears to be on the decline. New CDC data shows hospitalizations for influenza dropped nationwide for the third week in a row. And COVID-19 hospitalizations are down by 7,000 compared to the week after Thanksgiving. The CDC estimates that as of last week, there have been at least 20 million illnesses, 210,000 hospitalizations, and 13,000 deaths from the flu this season. Taking a live look now from FlightAware's website tonight. A much different story today than this past week. Southwest has canceled only 1% of its schedule, 41 flights in total. Only 5% of them are delayed. Now it comes after days of chaos, leaving travelers, crew members, and bags stranded. The Southwest leadership now can expect an appointment with Congress.
20 years ago, basic investments and upgrades would have been a good thing to do, but they didn't do. And now, 20 years on, we have a disaster on our hands.
Southwest anticipates it'll take weeks to process all the refunds and reimbursements owed to customers. If you are among the many owed, you may start your refund request at southwest.com. Click on Learn More under the Travel Disruptions message. Tonight, a community is still searching for answers. This after several teens gunned down in the city of Columbus. We show you what parents and leaders in the state's capital has to say about the violence. And live pictures over Times Square tonight. We're just now hours away from ringing in the new year. We explain the preparations in place to welcome over 1 million people to the city for the festivities.
Coming up, I'll also break down New Year's Eve and New Year's Day for you. Here's a look at your Kettering Health Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
A Columbus family is trying to come to terms with the loss of a 15-year-old girl. Lovely Kendricks was just one of many Columbus teens who were shot and killed in the state's capital this year. Rodney Dunnigan spoke with her mother and city officials about the ongoing problem and has an update.
It's a harsh reality. Teens cut down on city streets. Over the past year, more than 20 kids murdered. Families left to pick up the pieces. Communities trying to figure out how to stop the bloodshed.
My house is quiet. Lovely brought the life to our family. She was the laughter. She was the goofy one.
For Doris Moore, the pain can be unbearable. Her 15-year-old daughter, Lovely Kendricks, gunned down at Franklin Park in October.
Just miss her so much.
Columbus City Council President Shannon Hardin telling us the troubling trend, simply heartbreaking.
The truth is the issue is too big for just one person. So I don't just see this as a council issue, but it's a community issue.
They also tell me they hope that local leaders and the community can get a hold of a problem that's impacting families citywide. Rodney Dunnigan reporting.
All right, so starting to take a look at tomorrow, you can see we're going to have showers around 8 a.m. tomorrow. Starting off a little bit warm, we're going to cool down a little bit before we warm up again. But by noon, we're looking at those showers moving out of the area, mostly cloudy skies, staying until around 2 p.m. We might see a little bit of sunshine by 4. Temperatures only topping out around 52, 53 degrees. But for your New Year's Eve forecast, you can see going to be a nice night, going to be a little chilly. Temperatures around 39, 40 degrees. So if you're heading out, you'll want to grab a nice jacket, but no umbrella needed tomorrow night. New Year's Day looking decent. We're going to have a little bit of sunshine, but mostly cloudy overall. Going to be very mild and very above average once again, with temperatures in the upper 50s, around 56 degrees.
Tim, thanks. And speaking of New Year's, live look now from Times Square in New York City. We are just a few days away from ringing in the new year. Heck, just a little over 24 hours. And authorities in New York City say they are prepared for a safe and fun New Year's celebration. Now, officials say there are no specific or credible threats to New York City or any of its events surrounding New Year's. Still, people can expect to see thousands of uniformed officers around the city. Authorities say they are also using precautions taken behind the scenes that the public won't see. The city's police commissioner says multiple agencies are working together for an elaborate layered approach.
New York City is excited and looking forward to ringing in 2023 with another enjoyable New Year's Eve, all under the umbrella of the most well-policed, best protected event in the entire world.
Now, authorities are also reminding the public that safety takes everyone doing their part. Now, many people look forward to a night of fun on New Year's Eve, but for pets, all that noise and commotion can be scary for them. Many animal shelters report an increase in lost pets around New Year's. Neil Hayes with Austin Pets Alive in Austin, Texas, and says the best way to keep your pets safe, just keep them inside. That way they're less likely to get spooked and run away.
Other things that they can do is make sure that their pet is on a leash. They can make sure that their pet is microchipped, and all these things help. That if the worst does happen, it increases the chances of animals getting back to their rightful home once someone in the community finds them.
Now, if you come across a lost pet, there are ways to help, of course. That includes posting photos on your neighborhood Facebook or Nextdoor page. You could also take the animal to a vet or pet supply store to check for a microchip. Another easy way to help, walk around the area where the pet was found to see if you come across the owner. Now, AAA says Americans can expect to see some traffic on the roads this weekend. Morgan Dean is the spokesperson for AAA Mid-Atlantic and predicts Monday, January 2nd. That's going to be the busiest travel day this New Year's weekend. Dean notes that recent flight cancellations may also put more cars on the road after thousands were stranded at airports.
A lot of people have turned to rental cars to try and get either back home or to their destination.
So if you do plan on driving this coming Monday, Dean suggests leaving before 3 or after 8 p.m. to miss some of the rush hour traffic. And if you are looking for something local for New Year's Eve, we have a whole list of spots you can check out at Dayton247now.com. You can find that list if you type New Year's Eve events into our search bar, click on the article titled Celebrating the New Year, Going Out or Staying In. Several spots, including the Dublin Pub or the Yellow Cab Tavern, are offering up their own event prior to the ball dropping on New Year's Eve. And there's a look at the Oregon District tonight, where it's a great night to get out and walk around, maybe go to a restaurant or bar or do some shopping. Tim is in for Natalie tonight once again, and Tim, it is going to be another warm weekend.
Yes, we are going to have another warm weekend, and we are going to get some much needed rain through the night tonight. Just how much? Well, we actually need all of this rain right here. Looking like we're going to get almost an inch of rain across the region, about 0.77 in Dayton, 0.76 in Middletown, and then 0.65 out in Richmond. We definitely need all this rain. We're about negative 4.4 inches for the year, so we could use as much rain as we can. Speaking of that, our drought monitor, the latest one right here, we actually upped the severe drought for Richmond and Eaton. This is including all of the snow that we had last week. Didn't really do much to put a dent into it. Here in Dayton, we were under moderate, and down towards the Wilmington and Lebanon area, they are just in the abnormally dry. So we can get a little bit of this rain on the last day of the year tomorrow and hopefully put a little bit of a dent in that deficit.
Tim, thanks. Well, while the worst of the winter weather is over in Buffalo, the warm weather we're getting now could present new problems. We're going to break down the problems they could be facing and what officials are saying about that tonight. Also, we take a look at one person being looked at as a hero, how one man saved lives from that deadly winter storm that hit Buffalo this past week. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now. Now to an update from Buffalo, New York. Warming temperatures are melting the feet of snow that have piled up there. And while forecasters predict minor flooding in the days to come, local leaders say the city is back after that deadly winter storm.
The city of Buffalo is completely open for business. This is a huge achievement. And we have to note that a lot of other places across the country would still be crippled right now.
City officials say they're now removing the piles of snow to clear walkways and hauling them away. The death toll remains at 39 today. The medical examiner's office in Erie County reports all previously unidentified bodies are now identified. Officials say the New Year's Eve ball drop in the city is still on, and all entrances to Buffalo are open for visitors. Take a look at this. A man being hailed as a hero after breaking into an elementary school to shelter nearly a dozen people from the deadly Buffalo blizzard. Jay Withy ended up stranded in his own car while driving to help a friend who was trapped in the storm. He went to several houses nearby begging for help, but was turned away. So over the course of the night, he took a man and an elderly woman into his car to keep warm, and when he ran out of gas, he broke into that school to keep warm. He then went back out into the elements and let other older people into the school, even found food and mats for them to sleep on. Well, while Christmas weekend may have come and gone to the dogs, the incoming New Year's weekend will too, but in a very different way. Local dog daycare and training club donating close to 100 holiday dinners to dogs being cared for by the Montgomery County's Animal Resource Center. Bahati and Frey's Place gave each dog a plate full of turkey and gravy, mashed potatoes, fruits and veggies, oat and peanut butter cookies, even pumpkin cupcakes.
Wonderful time for the dogs, a great enrichment opportunity for the animals. So we're just super thrilled that they're here for us today.
It was supposed to be a Christmas dinner, but because of the winter storm, it got postponed to New Year's instead. The winning numbers for the Mega Millions, they are in 1, 3, 6, 44, 51, and 7. After 21 straight drawings with no winner, somebody may start 2023 with $640 million. If you're the lucky winner, you could opt out for a $328 million cash option. However, your chances of winning, of course, very slim, 1 in 302 million. A friendly wager between governors with a potential national championship on the line. What Ohio and Georgia's governors, they are betting on tomorrow's big matchup. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Well, we're just hours away now from kickoff between Ohio State and Georgia. The winner of that game advancing in the college football playoff. Now, coaches and fans of both teams, they're not the only ones getting in on the fun of bowl season. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine and Georgia Governor Brian Kemp placed a friendly wager ahead of the semifinal between the two schools. So DeWine explained what is at stake on his Twitter page. Take a listen.
Just in case we might happen to lose, we've got some good products to send to him as well. We have Buckeye candy, which we know that he will love. We have some good Ohio root beer. And finally, we have some maple syrup made by our son John and his company, Flying Mouse Farms. Go Buckeyes.
So in turn, Governor Kemp posted his own offering for the bet on his Twitter page. He bets some Georgia-grown agricultural products, including Georgia-grown peaches, of course, in honor of the Peach Bowl, along with Georgia peanuts and Georgia-made apple cider. Kickoff for that game set for tomorrow at 8 o'clock. A Bengal alum planning to show his support for his former squad when the Bills take on Cincinnati on January 2nd. Former wide receiver Chad Ochocinco Johnson says he'll not only be at the Monday night football game, he also plans to heckle Bills fans. Johnson tweeted his plans back on Christmas Day. He also said he would sit in the stands with fans when the Bengals take on the Bills. That one's going to play out again Monday night with kickoff set for 8:30. And before that game takes off, we are getting you ready for that epic game, the Bengals taking on the Bills, and it's going to be right here on ABC 22. We got you covered. You can join us for a special pregame show, Monday Night Matchup, sponsored by FanDuel. You'll hear from coaches, players, and the history between the two teams. All starts at 7:30 right here on ABC on Monday night.
So besides the rain that we have incoming, the other big story we've been having is the above average temperatures. Those are maintaining right now. 55 out here in Xenia and Dayton, 49 in Troy, warm up in Bell.